Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Hey, anybody else notice that the WBO and WBC both had their rack and stack of fighters updated at the same damn time? That doesn't seem a little big fishy to you? A little crawfishy to you? I tell you what, seems a little big fishy and crawfishy to me. So what could be going on? Well, let's take a look. Okay, we talked about the WBO in the live today. Just trying to understand what's going on. When you come and take a look, let me get this off the screen. All right, I'll just move that right there. But when you come and take a look at the WBO, you see that Rocha is the mandatory. I see they have an M next to the mandatories now, which is good for us. So he's no kidding the mandatory. Crowley's in the number 2 position for the WBO. Crowley's in the number 3 for the WBC. We know Crowley is fighting for a WBC mandatory position, and Crowley is fighting. Is he fighting Santillan? I can't remember who he's fighting, but I know he's fighting this weekend. But the story is, Crowley's been bumped up to number 2. Rashidi's bumped up to number 3 in the WBO. Rashidi is number 14 in the WBC. How Rashidi was able to jump over Blair Cobb, I have no idea. Even to go over some of these other names, it just doesn't add up. But what you're looking at is the latest and greatest for the WBO and WBC. And I'm trying to make sense, because if they updated them at the same time, there's got to be something that they've done here where they're working together. Now, I think ultimately they're making it to where Crawford and Spence have to fight. But we already know Keith Thurman and Rocha. We know Spence doesn't want to fight him. Crawford doesn't want to fight Rocha. There could be some step-aside money that comes down. These guys are mandatories. These guys are being told they're getting their shot. We know nobody wants to fight Alexis Rocha or Keith Thurman, so there could be some step-aside money, which would allow for Crawford and Spence to go forward, because Rocha would take the step-aside money. And Keith Thurman, I don't know, he's a little stubborn, but he may not have a choice because the sanctioning bodies can override anything these fighters want. But then you come down and you look at Ugas bubbled himself up to the number 2 position in the WBC. Then he's the number 5 in the WBO. Now Ugas is supposed to be fighting Mario Barrios, who is ranked number 5 in the WBC. So it makes me wonder, okay? And Ugas and Barrios are fighting for a for a mandatory position too, which they'll probably take. It's probably more of an elimination. The winner of Crowley, I think he's fighting Santillan. Don't quote me on that. I gotta check. But the winner of Crowley and whoever he's fighting, do I still have that up here? I think I closed it down. But Crowley and whoever he's fighting is probably gonna have to fight the winner of Ugas and Barrios. That's what it looks like. And then the winner of that will go on to fight whoever has the WBC strap. So that's what the plan is there for the WBC. They're doing an elimination with Crowley and his opponent, and Ugas and Barrios. Then the winner of those fights will fight each other for a shot at the WBC title. Now for the WBO, who knows what the hell Crawford is going to do right now, but we're thinking he's going to be going in there with Spence. But Alexis Rocha, Rashidi Ellis, they could make Rocha Ellis, because Rocha's been getting wins. Ellis took a loss. They could have the rematch. That's if Crawford chooses not to fight him, and him and Spence can sort things out. And the sanctioning bodies are cool with that. But that's what we could see. But then, Santillan, Uga, and Blair Cobb. But Blair Cobb, he's a free agent right now. That's the problem with Blair Cobb. He's just kind of in the breeze. But You could see Blair Cobb, Mr. 16-1, the best fighter in boxing today, pound for pound, in my opinion. He could be going up against Jamal James or Santillan. But I think Santillan, I can't remember who the hell's fighting Cody Crowley. But I know Cody Crowley's in a tough fight. But bottom line is Blair Cobb, depending on what's going on with him and his promotional deal, he's going to be getting him a shot at somebody. We just have to wait and see. But I would think Jamal James or Santillan, it just depends. I'm not sure. Then over in the WBO, you got Obara, Gayasev Young. So you got some other names of guys bubbling up. But you see Keith Thurman is all the way at number 15. So obviously people are tired. The WBO is tired of Keith Thurman because the WBO, they're not playing around. If they give a guy an opportunity to fight for the belt and they're turning it down, they're just going to remove you. They're either going to drop you to the bottom of the rankings or they're just going to remove you out. And that's what they did to Virgil Ortiz. But when you look over at the IBF and the WBA, you can see that Virgil Ortiz is still bubbling there. Keith Thurman. You come over to the WBA, you see Virgil Ortiz is the number one. He's fighting Stan Eunice and Keith Thurman. So Butiev, Radsad Butiev. So Keith Thurman's to me, he's just in a bad position. Because for Keith Thurman, if he fights early, which I don't think that's going to happen, but he may end up having to fight a Radsad Butiev because the WBC may say, hey, look, Spence and Crawford fight, we're not going to put you in there with no Yugas, Crowley, or Sissoko. They may say, hey, we got these mandatories going on already. They may find something else for Thurman to do. We understand that he's supposed to get a shot at the WBC belt because no one beat him for it, but all that inactivity, I think, is hurting him. But he may, because of his position in the WBA, you may see him and Butiev going to an eliminator as well. You know, very, very interesting. But the WBO and WBC, I'm trying to piece this together to see how they could possibly be working together. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure, except for the fact that the mandatories to Spence and Crawford, they just don't look like. What's up? Yeah. Hold on. All right. It just doesn't look like. Okay. I got it. Hold on. I got it. Sorry about that. My son came in. Here, take it out. Daddy coming. All right. But when I look at it, I'm not sure what the plan is. But it does look like Keith Thurman probably not going to get the opportunity. We just got to see what Spence and Crawford does. But when I'm looking at these names, let's just look at the top four in the WBO. Rocha may not be fighting Crawford if Crawford and Spence fight, so he's going to be floating in the breeze. He's going to have to fight somebody. Crowley's already committed to a fight. He can't turn around in a month or two and fight. Rashidi Ellis is available, so it could be Rocha and Ellis. In the WBC, if Spence fights Crawford, Keith Thurman's in the breeze. Yugas and Barras is supposed to be fighting. Cody Crowley's already fighting somebody. Keith Thurman could be fighting Sissoko or Keith Thurman. That's who it is. Yugas, I think, is fighting Abel Ramos. No, Cody Crowley's fighting, I think, Abel Ramos. So Keith Thurman could end up fighting Yugas. Well, no, Yugas is fighting somebody. He could end up fighting. Let's go to the WBA. Keith Thurman could end up fighting Butiev. So very interesting what they've decided to do. Out of all that, and Conor Ben's number 7 in the WBC, they got him back in the rankings. But what you're seeing here, you're seeing these guys putting in work, the sanctioning bodies behind the scenes, and they made some changes to these ranking stacks. They're gonna make these guys fight. The only thing that I'm not understanding is why Blair Cobb isn't getting a little bit more love, because he's done all right. I'm not saying he's an elite fighter. I always joke about him being the best next pound for pound, but he can scrap, man. But that being said, we just have to wait and see how the dust settles. But I do think it's odd that, you know, the WBO and WBA updating this stuff on the same day. And when you look up here, the ranking stack is still pretty much the same. Conor Ben is in the mix again. So it is what it is. But that being said, WBO and WBC update their rankings at the same time. Makes you wonder what's going on. Hey, y'all keep cool. We'll keep digging into this, doing our little mining to try to anticipate what the next move is with these sanctioning bodies. But right now, it looks like they're trying to really push Crawford and Spence against each other, and then take these other guys like a Rocha, Rashidi Ellis, a Keith Thurman, Ratsab Butiev, and start to get in Yugis and get these guys to bubble up and fight each other and get into some eliminators. But that being said, y'all keep cool. More to come. I'm in the breeze.